This video because you want to know the three stages of college planning and you want to know how to put your kid through college. So what you're going to learn during this video, if you stick it out to the end, is a couple things. One, you're going to need to know what you need to do today. Two, you're going to need to know what you're going to need to do in the future. And then the third thing you're going to learn is you're going to learn what you don't need to worry about, because there's some things that we think we need to do that we don't need to do. And if you stay through to the end of this video, you're going to learn how to map out paying for college over the course of your child's public education or elementary and middle school education, whatever you want to call that. And so we've got here three phases really that I break down based on the age of your child, what you need to be doing to pay for college when it comes time. And the first thing, before we even get into that, is I want you to realize something. You don't owe your child anything. You've given them life and you've given them a home to live in. So you don't necessarily have to take care of their college. It's really important that if you don't provide for your own retirement, then you're going to run into a situation where when it's time for your kids to graduate college and they get out of school and maybe they don't have any student loan debts, but as you enter into retirement, you're going to be a burden. You have the potential of being a burden on them because you didn't take care of yourself. So it's kind of like when you're in an airplane and they say if the masks fall down, the first thing you do is put your mask on. You have to put your mask on first, and your mask on first is taking care of retirement. Because if not, then what's going to happen is you're going to get to those later years in life, and you're not going to have the resources there to take care of yourself, and you're going to fall back on your children. So the question becomes, would you rather than be a little bit behind coming right out of college, or would you rather them be a little bit behind as they're going into their prime earning years and their busiest years of their life with teenagers and now aging adults? So my recommendation is always to focus first on retirement and then on college. But that being said, we do want to help our kids. So let's break down the three phases of college planning. So the first phase of college planning is that stage where they're a newborn child and they're in elementary school. Now, there's not a whole lot to do during this phase. It really boils down to, if you're able to, just save a little bit of money. Now, you can use a Roth IRA, you can use a 529, you can just put money in a CD and bank account. There's a whole lot of different options, and we can go over what those are later. But if you're in this phase and your kids are in elementary, and you want to start preparing for college, and you've taken care of your retirement, you've taken care of all the bad debt, you're in good shape financially, then start saving. The thing about it is you don't really even know what your children's needs are going to be yet. You don't know what kind of degree they're going to go for, or even if they're going to go for a degree. There's a lot of great careers out there now that don't require a degree. So making any large-scale plans at this age is it's too abstract. It's not concrete enough. You just don't know what's going to really happen. All right, so that's the first phase. It's kind of a quiet phase. We're not doing a whole lot. We're just making sure that we're in good position to be able to help them with college. Maybe saving a little bit, paying off our debts so that we have some extra cash flow to pay for college when that day comes. Maybe making sure our retirement is fully funded so that if they get out of college, we're not a burden to them then. But that's phase one, stage one. Now we roll into stage two. Stage two begins around 7th grade and goes through those middle school or junior high school years. Now in this stage, what you're doing is hopefully if you accumulate a little bit of assets to put aside for each of your children, you've earmarked, each one has their own fund. So you're not in a situation where you say, I've got X amount of money and child number one is going to spend X plus Y amount of money. So child one uses all the money you have, and then you've got child 2 or 3 coming down the line, and now you don't have any money put aside anymore. You've earmarked it for each kid so that there's, first child has X, second child has X, third child has X, and that's what you're contributing to each of them. Well, now what you can do is you can start to get an idea of what type of resources you're going to have for that child. So you can look at what those savings may grow into in the next 5 years or so. So you know what your 529s or your college saving funds that you've chose are. You also have a good idea of what your budget looks like. You can look forward. You can say, we can cash flow $400 a month towards their college costs. So we're going to have $20,000 that's in the 529. We're going to have $400 a month that we can pay towards college. And then we think that where they're looking at for college and what we think they might look to do career-wise, we may be looking at engineer in the future or a teacher, and we know that those incomes are in $50,000, $60,000, $30,000 ranges, so we know we can allow them to take out 1 year's worth of graduating income in a student loan. Now, you don't want them to take out more than 1 year of income in a student loan, but now all of a sudden what you've done is you've taken the bucket of savings plus the bucket of income that you can actually spend, plus put a restriction on the amount of student loan debt that they'll come out of school with. And now you've created this kind of plan and this picture of how much money might we have. And this opens the door to moving into stage 3 efficiently and setting the scene properly for your child, because stage 3 are those high school years. Now, these high school years, you're going to refine that projection of how much money do we actually have, and how much can we truly put towards the college costs. Now, as we refine those numbers and we figure out what this child wants to do, because now they're actually thinking about it on a regular basis, there's actually a little more understanding of who this child is and what they're going to become. We can actually look at the schools that fit the budget. And this is the thing we need to think about, is in phase 3, this is the first time you really want to be thinking about what school your child is going to. Because if you've told them their whole life they're going to Harvard, and then we get there and there's not enough money for Harvard, now you have to go back and say, no, you can't go to Harvard. And, in Ohio especially, I think what we see is a lot of people think, I'm going to go to Ohio State. I've watched them play football every Saturday in the fall for my entire life. So we're going to go to Ohio State. We're going to do Ohio State. That's where I'm going to go. This is my school. I'm going there. And we get to that point and we look, and Ohio State's maybe out of our price range. And I know they're not the most expensive school, but it's a good analogy. But Ohio State's out of our price range. So we think instead of Ohio State, maybe there's a school that we can go to instead that's going to maybe even be better for your student. So as we start to look at what our budget is, we can then look at the schools that we're interested in, and we got to be careful that we don't shop by sticker price of the school. We need to shop by actual cost. So we all know when we walk into a car dealership and we start looking at cars that, the $45,000 sticker price isn't what they're going to sell it to us for. We have a goal in mind of walking out of there at 40 or whatnot. Schools are the same way. The average school discounts their tuition up to 40%. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to go in, find the right school, and then get the right discounts. So maybe that dream school is still on the books because they are giving enough scholarship money to your child. But at the same time, in this phase, you want to look for the right school. You want to fill out the FAFSAs or the CSS profiles for financial aid. You want to find out whether or not your child fits into a needs-based program or a merit-based program, because there's two different ones. And this phase, in this stage in high school, is really about kind of checking the boxes and doing the work. And there's a lot of work to be done in this phase. So phase 1 is about saving, and phase 2 is about kind of projecting how much you'll have. Phase 3 is about doing the work and implementing. It's about picking the school. It's about filling out all the forms. It's about applying. It's about requesting an appeal to the amount that they're giving you so that you can get more back. It's really about getting the right school at the right cost. And here's a nice little tip for you, for those of you who did stick around to the end of this video. The biggest thing you can do to cut the cost of college is make sure that your child graduates on time and doesn't transfer out. Because the number one reason a child graduates late is because they transferred one school to another. And that puts them off schedule to graduate on time. And the worst thing you could do is have another year of room and board. So you need to get your student out in 4 years, or even better yet, 3 years if they're aggressive enough to do it. But so it's really important so that decision of what school are we going to pick is made and talked about really well, because that's going to save you a ton of money avoiding to have to transfer out. So if you're looking for help with your student loans, or you're looking for help with picking the college or finding the right programs that are out there, or just figuring out how much money you're going to have, let me know. I'll be happy to help walk through that for you. I can run a projection for you and help you get that ideas. But remember, those 3 phases of the student, of the college planning process are newborn to elementary, we save. Stage 2 is 7th grade, middle school, and junior high school age. And what we're doing there is we're kind of making the projections. And then stage 3 is filling out the FAFSA, doing all what I call doing all the hard work, filling out the FAFSA, appealing letters, picking the right college. So that's what most of us think about. Stage 1, 2, and 3, depending on where you're at, that's what you need to worry about. You guys have a great day.